Welcome to the Concrete Briefing. I am your host, Carter Concrete. Today, we are peeling back the layers of a story that sits at the intersection of global ambition and local reality. We are looking at the foundation of a dream, or perhaps a facade. We are talking about the man who promised the world the Wakanda of West Africa, but currently finds himself navigating a landscape the streets are calling No Kanda. We are, of course, talking about Aliaune Thiam, known to the world as Akon. This isn't just about a pop star. This is a deep dive analysis into the moves, the myths, and the monumental missteps that have characterized the Akon City project. We will explore the linguistic roots of the arguments against him, the cultural history of the Pan-African movement, and the potential influences on the personality of a man who claims to be the architect of the future, while still tethered to the infrastructure of the past. Let's begin with the facts. While the narrative being sold to the African diaspora is one of investment and relocation to Senegal, the reality on the ground in Georgia tells a different story. Recently, the man behind the multi-billion-dollar futuristic vision wasn't in a boardroom in Dakar. He was in a holding tank in Atlanta. The facts are clear. Akon spent 6 hours in custody due to driving on a suspended license. This leads us to our first major analytical argument: the hypocrisy of location. Professional journalism requires us to ask, if an individual is the self-proclaimed architect of a continental future, why is he still entangled in the basic legalities of a city he supposedly wants his people to leave? The argument here is that there's a fundamental disconnect between the vision and the vicar. You cannot lead a movement toward a new world while you are still getting bagged in the old one for something as foundational as a driver's license. Now, let's analyze the grifter argument. In the urban and professional context, a grifter is defined as someone who orchestrates a vision they themselves refuse to inhabit. Critics within the community are pointing to a specific piece of evidence: Akon's choice of transportation. Despite his platform as a Pan-African leader, Akon has been observed driving a Tesla truck, placing his financial capital into the pockets of Western billionaires like Elon Musk, rather than supporting the burgeoning electric vehicle industries currently rising within Africa. The reasoning behind this argument is accountability. When we look at the Akon City project, we see a disappointing reality. Years after its announcement, only one building stands. Akon has cited the global pandemic as the primary reason for a 2-year delay, but the public discourse is shifting. When reports surface of the singer experiencing mishaps in India, or rumors of fake jewelry circulate, the image of a focused visionary begins to erode, replaced by the image of someone mired in the struggle rather than the future. To truly understand the gravity of this situation, we must explore the linguistic roots and cultural tensions at play. There is a historical friction between continental Africans and Black Americans that Akon has, at times, exacerbated. Linguistically, Akon's rise was rooted in Black American culture, specifically the St. Louis car scene, yet he has been criticized for demeaning the very demographic that provided his initial platform. Consider his past statements claiming that African entertainers are superior because Black Americans are too busy on drugs. The argument being made by cultural analysts is that this represents a scammy methodology. It is a pattern where the Pan-African brand is utilized to secure land, and political favors from governments, such as the attempts to secure land from President Museveni in Uganda without delivering on the promised infrastructure. This brings us to the reality check of digital infrastructure. Why do these prominent pro-Black advocates remain in the United States? The argument is rooted in economics. The current financial infrastructure, such as Cash App and PayPal, does not operate with the same fluidity in many African nations. For a professional whose business model relies on digital donations and Western-based bags, moving to the continent represents a loss of grifting efficacy. They stay in the West because that is where the money is accessible, knowing that if they truly relocated, the opportunity for external funding would evaporate. The consequences of this inaction are real. The Senegalese government has reportedly reclaimed property intended for Akon City because of the lack of progress. When a sovereign government begins seizing land back, the future is no longer a vision, it is a liability. In our final analysis, we must look at the personality of Akon himself. Is he a divine visionary, or is he, as the community suggests, down bad? Between legal issues in Atlanta, spousal support battles with his wife, and a perceived decline in his musical relevance, the argument is that Akon has exhausted his goodwill. The conclusion drawn by many in the urban concrete is that the community is developing a heightened sense of discernment. They are distinguishing between a builder and a Pan-African fraud. You cannot disparage the people who supported your ascent while your own domestic and professional houses are in disrepair. This has been a formal briefing from the Concrete Briefing. We are not here to disparage. We are here to evaluate the facts against the rhetoric. If the vision of Akon City is real, the receipts must be produced. But if you are living in the luxury of Atlanta while selling a dream in Senegal, do not be surprised when the foundation begins to crack. Is Akon City a dream deferred, or is it a high-level hustle? The evidence is before you. Engage with us in the comments. Subscribe for more factual, professional, and energetic analysis. I am Carter Concrete, and this has been The Briefing.